Creekside Homestead, Alaska. Today, on this beautiful, glorious day, I decided to finally do a how, but also why the she shed became the ultimate she shed. It's a little overbuilt for a garden shed, she shed, whatever you want to say. Could possibly be a tiny home. So originally, this project was going to be just a basic she shed that you know, Karen could go in there and pot her plants, you know, have some grow lights in there for the for spring. Anyway, but before we started the project, before I started building, Karen was diagnosed with cancer. So, you know, it's a very emotional time. I wanted to give her somewhere, you know, a little bit more special that she could spend more time, you know, in there, because the garden is like therapy for both of us, but more so Karen. So I wanted to give her something special that she could be comfortable, you know, not cold, you know, in the spring and fall, just somewhere she could retreat to and enjoy and really be comfortable. So kind of went a little overboard with what I was going to do, but absolutely has been worth it without a doubt. It came out great. It is extremely usable. I'll talk about the heating options that I was going over before, or in a minute when we go inside. But anyway, I figured I've had a few comments on the she shed, and I figured I would do a video. So anyway, I wanted to kind of let you guys know, you know, what it's, you know, how it's built and all that, and you know, hopefully you come along with, you know, for the whole video. If you could please like, subscribe, it helps the channel a lot. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers. That's a magic number for any of you that know. One of the magic numbers. So anyway, I'd appreciate it if you're not subscribed. Please subscribe. It's free, but it does help out the channel a lot. Okay, so let's get to it. So as you can see, you got a small porch on the front. It's mostly covered. That was a design decision that I probably could have done better. Bringing the roof line a little farther out would have been nice to really cover, but this is a nice little spot to sit. As you can see, you can hear I don't know if you can hear it, but the creek in the background there. And we're in the middle of the garden here. But we'll do the outside first. Really not much to it. This is basically cedar lap siding that I actually was able to get all of it, and it's on the inside also for free. It was going to get thrown away. I know you probably hear that on this channel a few times, but it is true. It was going to get thrown away. A company was getting rid of it, and we were lucky enough, blessed enough, to get our hands on it. And there was a lot of it. So, little window there, kind of tucked up under the, I'll give you the specs of it here in a minute. But this spigot on the back side, it feeds it's just a hose running from the house. Feeds the sink inside, and also comes around to a hose reel on this side. There's the oil tank that I fabric cobbled together for the heating system. And then we're around to the front. So the shed is 10 foot by 12 foot. It does have 8-foot walls. Basically built like a standard home would be. So anyway, it's got a big front window. There's the other one that was a freebie, so kind of crap, but it actually does pretty good. We put plastic around the inside to help the insulation. Again, it's got this cedar lap siding that I planed the. I use a planer to plane off the stain like it is on the outside. So this is the same stuff. So it's, well, I'm gonna show you the pictures, but it's 2x4 framing, and it's got sheathing on the outside, house wrap, and then the cedar siding, and on the inside it has cedar siding. insulated, just typical fiberglass insulation. A little window, a couple of wall sconces there. I put a lot of receptacles, electrical, in here. That'd be more than a typical house would have, but that's because, well, you have all the grow lights that are plugged in, grow lights there, heating mats. This is all, and then of course we also use it as a brooder. You know, a warm place for the chicks. But that's pretty much the interior, exterior. Does have a loft up here. It's nice for storage. It's, I don't know. I think you see the wall's 12 feet. It's probably about, I don't know, 5 feet. So, but again, good for storage. But anyway, and then it's got the LVP flooring. That was a little bit more expensive than I wanted to do originally, but again, I wanted to give Karen something a little nicer. So the luxury vinyl planks, also they're waterproof, so you know, it's a garden shed also. She does her potting right here, and she can just dump it, and then down below that mat catches the excess soil. These countertops I built, this laminate came from one of our old houses that we had in Anchorage, and you know, it was a custom countertop material or color or whatever, so we had to buy the sheets of it. Well, we had a bunch left over, and I'm being the scrounger that I am, I never throw anything away, and good thing, because I had enough to do the tops of all the counters in here, and it actually came out pretty cool. Anyway, what else? Yeah, the same siding is on, well, no, this isn't the same siding. So the ceiling is, it's cedar, but it was, I think old fence boards or something. Again, they were going to get rid of. I had to pick through a lot of it. Some of it was rotten, but it came out pretty good. And then I just did a roll-on polyurethane on the walls, just to you know, help protect them, make them look a little nicer. But so one of the things that I waffled on a lot was, well, what are we going to use to heat this place? Because we're in Alaska. We're in a very cold part of Alaska, so I wanted to make sure it was comfortable in here. So first thing I thought was electric heat. That's way too expensive to run. And then I was thinking about propane, and I almost bought a propane heater, a non-vented one. But then the more I read and the more I understood that the propane, burning propane in this enclosure, would basically generate a lot of moisture. I did not want that. And then I looked at direct vent propane, and they were quite expensive, and then the propane's expensive. It's expensive to run them. So we really bit the bullet and invested a lot of money in a Toyo stove. It's the same type we have in the house, but much smaller. They're not cheap, but at the end of the day, they are a lot more efficient to run than any other solution. So this one's, it does really good. I mean, you saw the tank outside. I think we've had this for 2 winters now. We run it most of the winter, you know, well, definitely in the shoulder seasons, but sometimes in the middle of the winter, we'll fire it up and heat it, you know, for a guest or whatever. We cleaned it up really well before we let anybody, and it's always the kids, so. But it's very efficient, very efficient. So anyway, that is the finished product. Oh, the electrical, I did run from my main panel to a sub panel here. Ran 40 amp service out here, so that's plenty, and it helped me also get power to the other lot, because this was halfway. So ran heavy cable from the house to here, and then from here to the pole barn, and that gives me power across the whole property. Because you can see the pole barn's way over there. But so that's pretty much the final product, and I hope you stick around for the kind of how-to portion. It's going to be just a voiceover with pictures. Like I said, I didn't video any part of building it because we didn't have a channel then, and I wasn't thinking. I should have videoed it, but it's par for the course. I have quite a few things on the property that we didn't video. But anyway, so hope you stick around. Thanks for watching. So I waffled a little bit on the foundation for the she shed, but I ultimately did what I had done on the property a few times before, and that is to put it on skids on top of blocks. That way it's not technically permanent. There's reasons to and reasons not to do it that way, but that's the way I do it. I did put gravel down first, and that gravel was down for a year before we put the she shed on, and it hasn't heaved yet. The door closes every year, so it's actually worked out really good. It's a good spot for it. So you can see here I got the foundation. I didn't have any pictures of the foundation originally, but you see here the foundation. The flooring is 2x6 joists. I think they're 16 on center. I just used a little bit smaller boards, but more of them. And then it has 3/4 inch tongue and groove flooring on top of that, and everything underneath that 3/4 inch tongue and groove is direct contact pressure treated. That way I don't have to worry about the snow and the water getting under it and all that. Should last a pretty long time. So here's just a couple more pictures of the foundation and the first sets of walls. Not much really to talk about here. It's using standard building practices, I guess you could say, the same way you would if you were building a tiny home or a house or whatever. 16 inches on center walls, double top plate. It's all pretty standard. So here you can see I used a ridge beam basically on this project. A couple of reasons for that. One of the main reasons, I did want to do a 12-12 pitch roof, so I didn't have to worry about the snow load for the most part. I could just let the snow slide off basically. So getting that ridge beam up there is not a really good time, but I got it up there. Yeah, so the ridge beam is two 2x10s laminated together, glued and nailed together. So it weighs pretty good. I didn't weigh it, but I can tell you, my back says it was heavy, but got it up there just fine. So here's the first set of rafters going on. Again, working on something that steep by yourself is, it's a challenge, but well worth it. I'm used to working by myself on most of the building projects on the homestead. Karen will help me obviously if I need it, but she's got her own stuff to do. The great thing about doing a 12-12 pitch is everything's 45 degrees, so there's no guesswork as to figuring out your angles. Makes it a little bit easier. So here I'm putting the last bit of rafters on, and the posts and the end pieces, rafters there, I made sure to use ground contact pressure treated wood on the outside like that, because we use a sprinkler in the garden to do a lot of our watering, and it'll get on the front of that. So I just want to make sure that anything that was going to get wet would have pressure treated. So here's the sheathing was going on. Don't have a lot of pictures of the the sheathing or anything. I think there's one more picture coming up. But I also used tar paper basically on top of the sheathing, and then the metal roofing went on top of that. That way, if you have any of the condensation that comes with that metal roofing, it'll be only on top of the tar paper, not on the wood. That would be a huge mistake. So here you can see the ladder leaning against the roof. That was the safest way I could find to get up there and stay up there. Not that it was real slick, but it was steep, and I'm not as good as I used to be. There's the more of the tar paper on the roof. I think we're pretty much about finished with the tar paper at this point. Then this is the other side, a little bit more distant picture. Next up was to put the building wrap on the shed. Obviously this helps with a little bit of a vapor barrier, a little bit more protection if water gets up underneath the siding. But like I said, I decided to kind of overbuild this as a shed and build it more like a house, so Karen would have some place that's a little bit more comfortable to work in, or just get away from me. So the next couple of pictures just show the siding going on. This is actually one of my more favorite parts of the build. It was just very satisfying to get that siding on. You can see that the roofing's already on the tin. I didn't get any pictures of me doing that, probably for good reason. That was a little bit dangerous, but we got it done anyway. These are a couple pictures of the before I put the front porch on and after. I do wish I would have come out a little bit farther with the roof to cover the porch a little bit better, but honestly the garden was already there, so I was kind of having to work with the space that I had available at the time. So moving on into the interior, this is the insulation is in here, and you can see that the loft is partially built. The loft's really actually made a big difference in how much storage space we had in there. But I did put baffles in the ceiling for ventilation, and then the insulation, fiberglass insulation. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be insulating this thing, and it does pretty good. But it's still 2x4 walls, so you can only insulate so much with that. The ceiling is 2x6 ceiling joist, so I'm able to get a little bit more insulation in there. At this point in the build, I believe it was late November, so you can see I had to use a diesel heater to keep from freezing to death while I was doing the interior of the. She said I didn't have a heater hooked up at this point yet. Hadn't even made a decision on what kind of heat we were going to do at the time, but I don't know if you can see behind the heater there's a couple feet of snow already, and it was cold. I remember doing the interior siding, and it was just frigid. Here's some more pictures of putting the interior siding on. Again, very satisfying. It took a little bit long because I had to plane every board before I put it up. You can see I put some not recessed lighting, but low profile lights above where would be the bench there. And then, of course, more pictures of the siding going on. The ceiling not done yet in this picture, but you could see how cold it was. And this is the loft done, and the ceiling not done yet, but it just shows a couple of pictures of the lights that I used. I used one high bay. You can barely see it at the top of the picture there. That gives a lot of light, and then that small LED above the loft. So here are a few more pictures of the interior work getting done. I love this interior walls. They look so good. And then this is the small window with the sconces next to it, and then has that little potting area where, when you're tossing dirt around, it goes down through those slots. or slats, and then underneath there's a rubber mat that catches the dirt on, so you don't lose any. Um, it still goes everywhere, but it keeps it a lot neater than it would normally be, I guess. And here's a shot of the countertops going in, and then they have the little utility sink there. Gives Karen some, I hook it up to the hose that comes from the house right now. But it gives Karen water in the she shed. Obviously, if you're going to be planting plants, you need water. But the front window is great because it does let a lot of heat in when it's cooler outside. But I put a big windowsill on it, a wide one, so she can put plants in the window, and actually helps quite a bit. She puts her lemon tree in there that's never given us lemons, but I'm sure it will one day. And then here's the upper cabinets going in, and the countertops are looks like they're done in this picture. Didn't get any pictures of that in progress, but those upper cabinets were given to us from family that had them for their garage, but they ended up working out really well in here. So that's pretty much it. That's how and why we built this ultimate she shed for Karen. It gets a lot of use, and I know Karen appreciates it, and it's good therapy for her, and but she uses it just like you would expect. There she is, taking a break. Anyway, if you stayed this long, really appreciate you watching. We have a garden planting video coming up real soon. Hope you enjoy that one also, and thanks for watching.